In the world of entrepreneurship, we're constantly told that hustle is everything. Grind, grind, grind. But what if the real competitive edge isn't about working harder, but about working smarter, from the inside out? Today, we're going to break down a framework for building success that actually lasts, all through what's called mental fitness. Okay, let's get into it. This quote just hits home, doesn't it? We live in this culture that puts the grind on a pedestal, celebrating that non-stop work ethic. But this whole glorification of hustle, it often hides a much darker side. It's this cycle of stress and burnout that so many founders are afraid to even admit they're going through. So that leads us to a really important question. What if the path to peak performance isn't paved with total exhaustion? What if there's a system you can actually build for yourself that fosters resilience and clarity, one that allows you to thrive, not just barely survive? All right, first up, let's really diagnose what we're calling the peak performance problem. Because if we're going to find the right solution, we have to be crystal clear on why this hustle culture is actually holding so many of us back. Now get this. This slide really shows the hard data behind the struggle. A study from the National Institute of Mental Health found that nearly half of all entrepreneurs deal with mental health issues. That is a staggering 49%. And that's compared to just 32% of the general population. So yeah, the pressure is very, very real, and it has a measurable impact. And here's what that constant stress actually costs you. It isn't just a feeling, right? It's a real physiological state. It leads to chronically high levels of cortisol, the stress hormone, which is tied to serious health issues like hypertension. But it also directly sabotages your business by causing mental exhaustion and, this is critical, it messes with your ability to make clear strategic decisions. Your greatest asset, your mind, is being compromised. So how do we fix this? Well, we start by building a strong foundation. And look, this isn't about finding some quick fix for stress. It's about proactively training our minds to handle it in the first place. So let's really explore this idea of mental fitness. Okay, so what is mental fitness? It's basically a workout for your brain. The most important word here is proactive. This isn't about waiting until you're completely burnt out to deal with your mental health. No, it's about daily cognitive conditioning, building up your resilience, sharpening your focus, and keeping your clarity so you're ready for challenges before they even hit. This is honestly the best way to think about it. With physical training, right, the goal is strength and endurance. You get there with reps, with consistency, and the result? Peak physical performance. Well, mental training is the exact same idea. Your goal is self-command and resilience. And the method involves these little mental reps, things like what some call PQ reps, which are just short 10-second exercises like focusing on the feeling of your feet on the floor. These tiny actions, when you do them consistently along with self-care, build up your cognitive performance over time. Okay, so we've got our foundation in place. Now it's time to build on it. Think of this next part as the actual strength and conditioning program for your mind. There are two absolutely essential pillars that support mental strength. Let's dig into the first one. So, pillar number one is all about learning new skills faster. In the world we live in today, the ability to adapt it's non-negotiable. Your mental agility is directly tied to how quickly you can pick up valuable new skills. And this isn't just about knowledge. It's about building the resilience to face any new challenge that comes your way without getting completely overwhelmed. So how do you actually do it? Well, first you deconstruct. Don't try to learn coding, right? That's too big. Instead, learn one specific command. Second, you apply the 80-20 rule. Find that critical 20% of the skill that's going to give you 80% of the results, and you master that part first. And finally, you create really tight feedback loops. Don't just practice blindly. Get immediate feedback so you can adjust and correct in real time. This is how you seriously accelerate that learning curve. Now for our second pillar, building habits that last. Look, if learning new skills is about adding tools to your toolkit, then habits are what keep those tools sharp automatically. This is where we make all of our mental training consistent and almost effortless, turning these beneficial practices into our default way of operating. So, the most crucial point here is that motivation is unreliable, but habits are automatic. To build them, you have to start ridiculously small. I'm talking one push-up, not 50. Then you anchor that new habit to one you already have, like meditating for just 1 minute right after you brush your teeth. You design your environment for success, and you always remember, consistency beats perfection every single time. Okay, so we've got the foundation and we have the pillars. The final piece of this puzzle is the operating system. It's the way you organize and direct all this newfound capacity you're building. This is where something called a personal knowledge management system, or PKM, comes in. Just think of it as a second brain. It's an external system, maybe a notes app or a journal, where you capture, organize, and connect all the information and ideas you're learning. What this does is it frees up your mental energy from just trying to remember everything to actually using that knowledge to innovate and solve problems. And a huge part of this operating system is shifting from being purely goal-driven to being intention-driven. See, goals are about the future destination, the what. Intentions are about the present moment, the why and the how. A goal like hitting a sales target can get derailed by stuff you can't control. But an intention, like approaching every call with genuine curiosity, is 100% within your control, and it guides your actions right here, right now. So let's bring all this together for the final, most crucial takeaway. Sustainable success is not about chasing some impossible standard of perfection. It's about building reliable systems that work for you day in and day out. I mean, this quote just says it all, doesn't it? The path to peak performance isn't about flawless execution that's fueled by sheer willpower. It's about designing a system of small, consistent habits that support your mental fitness automatically. Now, this whole framework can feel like a lot to take in, I get it. But remember, it all starts with one small step. So I'm going to leave you with this question to think about. Looking at your own life, your own work, what is the single, ridiculously small habit you can start today to begin laying the foundation for your own mental fitness?